Donald Trump has no say-so in World War III. The Most High does. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahawashi Ba'Hashem Rachah HaKodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect. Shalom Barakatham. This is on the back of the comments Donald Trump made earlier today. I believe it was today or maybe late yesterday. Of him saying that there's not going to be any World War III. And I think he said something like this before, and I've kind of spoke on it. But as you know, prophecy, which is what, we're the real stewards of and ambassadors of, it's not up to private interpretation. It's not a matter of what can happen. It's a matter of what will happen. So the Most High has the ultimate say-so on how things are going to end, but it makes sense that a guy like him, Nero 47, okay, would say something like that, because ancient Nero was a narcissist, and Donald Trump is the same way. Okay, this guy literally doesn't care about anything, his legacy. I mean, he doesn't care if he contradicts himself from 5 seconds ago, man. And it takes a special kind of demon to be able to do that. Okay, so this guy is just saying whatever he's got to say to calm things down. And Apostle Tahar, or the elder from Hawaii, I believe it, Elder Gabar, out there in Hawaii camp, had mentioned, the people in the room, he was like, they did not buy that at all, man, because those people in the room, they're much closer to the inside information of what's going on and what's going down in the geopolitical world. Okay, and they all know that World War III is basically started. I mean, it's all but started a kinetic war, and kinetic goes into the physical bullets and missiles starting to fly. Okay, but even on that front, you can say it started because we're essentially at war with Russia via NATO, because NATO is nothing but a vassal entity of the United States. Okay, that's why in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter, you see the whore, which is America, the whore of Babylon, is riding on top of the beast. Okay, the beast is there, but the whore is the real dangerous, the most dangerous thing in this depiction. And ultimately, America's gonna get isolated, and they're gonna turn on America, man. And I learned a little bit more too about the breakdown, of the missiles. Watching the Apostle Tahar earlier, about how the missiles are gonna basically hit, essentially in 2 phases, where the 10th part of the city is gonna fall, all right, and then the rest of America is gonna fall. Okay, so that second part, it's going to be Russia that's going to basically finish America off. Okay, because Russia, we don't believe the numbers that they say they got in nuclear stockpile, but based on what they do report, Russia by far has the most. Okay, and it's not even close. So Russia has a lot of nukes. Okay, and it'll make sense that Russia finishes off, the other 90%. And that thing is already set in motion, man. And basically, Trump, you have no choice but to fight, man. China owns your economy. Okay, China owns the economy. There is no way to do a tariff or try to start a trade war or do this or withdraw this, or we're not going to do that without it ending catastrophically, man. Okay, you have 37 going on 40 trillion worth of debt. All right, that doesn't even include the hundreds of trillions in unfunded liabilities. Okay, that you got floating out there. All right, and now nobody trusts the dollar anymore, because nobody believes America's ever going to pay this debt back. Okay, which I don't know why they would believe that to begin with. All right, and really secretly, I don't believe they ever believed that. I believe they just saw America as a way to build up their own economy. So now China is surpassing America. Okay, they're building great things over there in China, man. They just built a bridge. I believe it's bigger than the San Francisco Bridge. Okay, the Golden State Bridge, I believe it's what it's called. And it's got a restaurant on top, and it goes several feet up, and it's got a park on it, on a bridge, man. Okay, they're modernizing. They're doing these great architectural buildings. All right, they're building high speed railway systems. All right, now 30, 40 years ago, China, they were still over there, farming rice, man. But after all of this money, when you sold out the manufacturing base, and they made everything from toys to medicines to electronics to shoes. All right, they built themselves up, man. They've enriched themselves. And that's why it says that Obadiah, those that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Okay, China made all kind of deals with you, man, and now it makes sense why they accepted this U.S. debt, because they know that they were going to be able to build up their own economies off of you, man. Now they have a self-sustaining economy. Now they can make their own cars now. Okay, they can build their own roads. They have they have a monopoly on most of the precious minerals that are needed, especially rare earth elements. Okay, tungsten. Okay, various things they have a monopoly on, or almost a monopoly on. Okay, so in terms of natural resources, China is winning, man. Okay, so economically, you have no moves there, man. You're gonna have to corral everybody into a new digital system. Okay, and make a new system of economic faith, because that's all the U.S. dollar is. It's really just a religion, because you have to have faith in the dollar. Okay, it doesn't really have any purchasing power, because it doesn't really represent wealth. Once a currency turns fiat, it doesn't represent wealth anymore. Okay, it represents whoever is in charge of the monetary policy says it represents. Okay, and so what else are you gonna do, man? This is just gonna be just like World War II. Okay, America went through that Great Depression after the 1929 stock market crash. Okay, brought in about 10 years of the Great Depression. All right, and then after that, it was World War II, and America started putting out something called war bonds. Okay, and then this is when the government started to outspend more than it was getting in taxes rapidly, man. Okay, and they used payroll taxes to help fund it, man. Okay, and even though that was supposed to be temporary, it's never gone away. So America's gotten greedy. It doesn't have any more moves left. You're gonna have to go to war to start this thing off, and that's how the Most High orchestrated it, man. Everything that happens in America, or happens period, is sanctioned by Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, if the Lord don't want something to happen, it's not gonna happen. If the Lord wants something to happen, it's gonna happen. In Isaiah the 45th chapter, the first verse, it speaks about how the Lord moved on King Cyrus of Persia, man. Okay, to accomplish what he wanted. Okay, when it was time for the Babylonians to go down, okay, he, as the scriptures say, he stirred up the spirit of the Medes. Okay, now the Medes were separate from the Persian, but they became one. They became the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, you can read that in Isaiah the 13th chapter, as well as Jeremiah, I believe 50 or 51. The spirit of the Medes is being stirred up. Okay, so what are you gonna do, man? People see you as the threat, man. Nobody's gonna just let bygones be bygones. You can't just walk away from this. You've caused too much damage and too much stress. You killed too many people. You've already proven that you're a psycho, man. That there's no end in sight. There's nothing you won't do, man. You'll kill even your own people. Other nations are looking at you like, God damn. You know? Even a heathen, which don't know better not to eat an octopus, even they know. Well, we ain't gonna do that to our own people, you know? But Esau's over here wilding out, man. So there's no way in hell the rest of the world just gonna let you slide out of this thing, man. All of a sudden you're peaceful now. They'll say that, they'll pretend to be an ally, but as soon as they find the right move to get you up out of there, they're gonna get you up out of there, man. When you read Obadiah 1 and 7, it says they the ones that were confederate with thee, okay, they've laid a wound underneath thee, and there's no understanding in him. Okay, they that eat thy bread, and everybody's been eating the bread of America. Okay, you've been a means to an end. Okay, You're like I always use the analogy. Okay, you're like the drunk friend. Okay, that goes around starting bar fights with everybody. All right. You know, people. Why do people keep going out with you? Because you buy them drinks. Okay. They go out there with you because they know you're gonna buy them drinks, but then they go, oh shit, this nigga gonna wild out. Eventually, you're gonna have too much, and he's gonna be a problem. That's you, America. You know, people mock the small hats over there. You know, of Israel for doing that, and they do. But where do you think this culture comes from? They're all one people, man. You know, this is what America's been doing for the world since World War II, man. You know, digging in the potato salad with their bare hands. You know, dropping chicken bones everywhere, just making a mess, talking shit. You gotta go, man. The world has decided that, man. So to the point to where in Revelation 17 it says the beast who were your allies, it says these shall hate the whore and shall burn her with fire. Why is that? If your allies hate you, what you think Russia gonna do, man? You know, you got 800 plus military bases all over the world. Nah, you got to stand on that, man. Just like Isaiah 47 said, okay? You named the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. Now you talking about it ain't going to be no World War III. Absolutely not, man. See, the Spirit of the Lord is going to move you to do what he wants you to do, whether you like it or not, man. Just like he did Pharaoh, man. Just like he did King Cyrus, okay? Just like he did Alexander. Okay? It says that in Daniel 4:17 that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and setteth over it whomsoever he will. Okay? Even the basest of men. So you're the base man that the Lord has set up to rule over people, because our kingdom is up next, man. Okay? You got your blessing. It's a wrap. Go ahead and you know, like the scriptures say, gather around to the valley of decision of Jehoshaphat, and go ahead and get your judgment, man. All right, and you elites that survive all of this thermonuclear missiles and the various places y'all gonna hide in bunkers in outer space, underground, in the water. Y'all are gonna have a hardcore. You're gonna get the first fruits of slavery, man. We're gonna beat the living shit out of you, man. Okay. The Lord is literally going to send his men all over the earth where you at to grab you up and put you in shackles, man. Okay? That's in Psalms, the 2nd chapter. Psalms, another book in Psalms 2 as well. Okay? So as the scriptures say, the man's goings is of the Lord. Donald Trump can say all he wants, that ain't going to be no World War III. But World War III is already written. John the Revelator already saw it, man. Okay? It's already been confirmed, man. You know, Yahweh Shai said, we went over this last week, he said, it is finished. What does that mean, it's finished? You think your kingdom is going to coexist with Yahweh Shai's kingdom? No, it's not, man. Your shit got to go down. And you have to ask yourself, how is it going to go down? Is the Lord just going to let it, you know, putter out? Or it's going to whimper away like a vapor? No, it's going to be memorable, okay? So much so where the Lord said, in Jeremiah the 16th chapter, they should no more talk about the Lord that delivered you out of Egypt, but the Lord that the Lord delivered you out of the land of the north. Okay, what does that mean? That means what the Lord getting ready to do with this deliverance of his elect men and of their households. It ain't gonna be nothing compared. The ancient Egyptian deliverance is going to pale in comparison. That's what I'm trying to say. To lock you. Okay? You can't get around it. You can't get through it. Can't get under it. You know, like what's that Michael Jackson song? You want to be starting something? You know? That's prophecy, man. And this is what's going to piss Esau off. His inability to stop prophecy. And eventually he's going to roll in the minute of the Lord. And the Lord going to have to lift up that standard. And all that's going to do is speed things up. You're going to make your own demise worse by trying to put hands on men of the Lord. Okay? So that's really all I wanted to say on that. You know, Trump is through, man. Okay? He's a puppet, you know, and Shalak Rayam to him and the rest of his people, man. All right. So with that, I'll end it there, Lowell, and this is edifying. On to the next. Shalom.